Alright, today we're working on chapter 5. You have the training and the 2 assessments. Then next week we begin to study and narrow everything down for our midterm. Stay pretty close. So today I'm going to go through chapter 5, the first assignment. So go ahead and download. You need all 3 of these files. One of them is an image that we will add later. So go ahead and download all 3 of these files to your computer. Save them on your flash drive. Because there's more than one, I'm making a folder that says chapter 5. That way I don't get them confused. And there's 5. And a logo file. There's the instructions. There. So you should have those 3 files. There's a logo file, the instructions, and then of course your assignment. Go ahead and open up the instructions. Enable the editing. And I always minimize it down to the bottom. Then open up the assignment, do the same thing, enable the editing. Cascade the window, you can fit them in there together nicely. And I like to zoom in on my Word document so you can see it. So this is our start file, and I have our instructions down at the bottom. So go ahead and open up those 2 files. We'll start. This particular assignment expands on the conditional formatting. It also shows you how to format bullets. As well as creating some custom fonts, custom number formats, some more of the advanced features, for example. All right, everybody ready? Okay. Of course, the first part is to download and open, which we just did. So we can scroll to number 2. And it starts off with our first custom number format. All the way up to now, we've been choosing the number formats that already exist. If you look in the Home tab, inside the numbers group, there's already the accounting number format, the percent number format, comma style. We've been using those until now, so now we're going to create our own. There's several different things to keep in mind when you're doing so. You don't actually put numbers and letters inside your custom number format. Instead, you use symbols like the pound sign, the underscore, period, and you will use the 0 to represent a number, so or a decimal place rather. So let's take a look. It says in C15, create a custom number format that will display the value as a $sign followed by a space, then a 2-digit number with 2 decimal places. And use the format painter to copy down. Anytime you see use the format painter, you have to do that, or else the instructions, the grader is going to mark it wrong. So I'll show you how to do that as well. So we click in C15, which is right there at our weekday total of $89.99. And it wants a custom number format. So if we go up to the numbers section and press the dialog box launcher, it will bring our numbers format here. Of course, over in the category section, there's special categories that we've already been using. But this one says custom. If we look down here, it says create a custom number. So go down here to custom and just scroll through here and take a look at what we see. You can see the different symbols and the different number signs, zeros. There's some underscores and parentheses that are used in custom number formats. What we do is scroll up here, click on General, and then right there where it says Type, highlight the General and we'll just remove that. Okay. So it says display the value as a $sign, so that's easy. We just simply add a $sign. So the shift key in the number 4 is the $sign. And then we need to represent a space. Does anyone know how to represent a space? Very good. The underscore. So shift and the underscore represent your space. And then what does it say? 2-digit number. So the numbers are represented by the number sign or the pound sign, or you guys may know it as the hashtag. Either way, shift 3 twice represents 2 numbers. And then it says with 2 decimal places. When you see the decimal places, you know you need a period. And if we look down in the below, after a period, then there's a 0 there on all of these. So to represent our decimal places, we need to use a 0. So we do 2 zeros. So that's a $sign, a space, then there's 2 number signs, followed by a period, and then 2 zeros represent 2 decimal places. Questions on that number format? It's somewhat tricky, but if you look in some that are already created, it's going to give you clues to the symbols you can use within the formats. Press OK, and doesn't do much to that one, minus adding the $sign with the space after. Then it says use the format painter to copy it down. So you don't even click anywhere here. The format painter is going to take the formatting from whatever is selected. So this is already selected. So we just go into the clipboard group and click the paintbrush. And then it says to fill it to C16. And once you click it, your mouse has a little paintbrush on it. Essentially, the format is inside that paintbrush, and all you do is click on the cell that you want to add that format to. And that'll bring the format down to C6 using the format painter. Okay, good. All right, any questions on that one?
Can you do that again?
Format painter?
Yeah.
Undo it. Anytime you have this selection on here, if you want to get rid of it, press the escape key and it'll take it off. So what you do is select the cell. Oops, I have to put the formats back in there. You select the cell that has the formatting that you want to move down. And then you go in the clipboard group and see the little paintbrush. Just click on that. And once you do, you get the little selection. And then you can just click on the cell you want. If it was more than one, you'd have to click and drag. And it copies it down. Alright, so here's another one. We're using the format painter again to copy the formatting in J6 to the range C12 through I12. Okay, so we look in, J6 is right there, and then we're gonna fill the range C12 through I12, which is our average tour sold. So click here, because we want to take the format from this cell. So click J6, and then click the format painter once again. This time we want to go from the range C12 through I12. So click and hold C12, drag across, then release it. And it'll paint it, the format, into those cells. If you were to click anywhere else or release the mouse, you'd have to start over again for it to actually work. And then it says decrease the decimal 2 times to adjust the data in the cells to fit. Adjusting the data in the cells to fit is extra information we don't really need. All we need to know is to decrease the decimal 2 times. So if we go into the number group and we hold over these double arrows that point to the left, that one's increase, and this one's decrease, so we press it twice, 1, 2. So it should look like that. It's very easy to think that adjusting the data in the cells means to adjust the column widths, but it doesn't say to do that. All we're doing is decreasing the decimal. Okay? Yeah.
When I do that, I get a bunch of hashtags.
Make sure you didn't do an increase.
This one.
Yep. Yep, if you increase, I'm gonna go ahead and do it so you can see. If for some reason you've done this, anytime you see these hashtags, pound signs, number signs, it just means that the column width is too small for the data. It doesn't mean anything's wrong. So if that happens, usually the data's too large. Most of the time you'd want to resize the cells, but in this case we just have too many decimal places. Okay, good. All right, moving on. Going to number 4. We're selecting the range C5 through J12. So go ahead and select that range, C5 through J12, which is everything there, starting at Sunday and ending with the blank spot here under total revenue. And what we're going to do is use the Format Cells dialog box to add inside and outside borders, change the color to blue, select the range, change the fill color, and add a thick box border. The trick to using the Format Cells dialog box is you have to change the color first. If you don't, it's not going to work right. So let's take a look. If we go into the Cells group, there's a Format button. Click there. Go all the way down to Format Cells. That's going to bring the Format Cells dialog box up. Click there. And it's essentially here. Starts on the numbers group. So we need to find the tab that says border, because that's what we're adding. And this is what we're going to add. So it says to do inside and outside borders and change the color to blue. But you have to do that in reverse order. Before you start clicking on any of the borders, you need to change your border color first. So press the color box there. It doesn't say to change any style, so leave it alone. If it doesn't say to change something, always leave it as default. Press the down arrow. It says blue. Because it says blue and no accent, it means it's in the standard colors, and there's the blue. So click that first. And then it says do inside, and then it said the outside borders. Well, if we look at our preview, when we do the outline, that actually takes care of the outside borders. So that is one and the same. So change it to blue, and then make sure the preview looks blue. This is the most commonly missed question on the test. Just because you don't change the color first. Change the color first so your preview looks right and you don't have to worry about it. Questions on that one? Press OK there and then everything turns blue. And now we're going to select a new range, B5 through J12, which is the entire document. B5 through the entire table there. And it says to change the fill color to green, light green rather. So we're just looking the font group and there's a bucket with the little paint spilling out of it. That's our fill. Press the down and it says light green with no accent means it's in our standard colors. So there's the light green. And then it said add a thick box border to the range. If we look right next to our fill bucket, there's a borders box right here. If we press the down arrow, there's one that says thick box border. So we'll just choose that one. And it doesn't look like much until we click away, so if we click in B13, it should look like that. Any questions on that one? We're inserting, next says insert a new row above 11. So in order to insert a row, in this case, if you hold the mouse over 11 and click, there's several ways to actually add rows. The easiest way, if you click on the row below, it always adds, if you insert, it always adds above whatever you selected. So it says add a row above 11, so select row 11, and if you just right click right there and go to insert, it'll automatically insert a row right above it. So now we have a blank row between those sets of data. Okay. Here's another type of conditional formatting. You can use arrows to represent increases in numbers and decreases. So we're going to highlight range C13 through I13. And in the styles group, we go to our conditional formatting. And there's one that says icon sets. There's several different arrows. If you hold the mouse over, this one is a 4-color arrow and this one is 5. And it says use the 5 arrows colored. Notice these are not colored. What does it say those are? It just says 5 arrows probably. This says gray. It wants the colored one, so that's those. So click there and it'll add the arrows showing the higher numbers, lower numbers from the previous column. If it rose, if it went up, okay? So another visual representation of the fluctuation of the numbers. Okay. This one here is a little bit trickier. Some more advanced conditional formatting actually uses a type of almost a nested formula. So here it says apply the conditional formatting to the cell J6. So the cell will be formatted bold red. Font if the value in J6 is less than the average range of J6 through J10. Ensure only the cells in the average function are absolute values. Use the format painter to copy it down the cells. Do you have a question? Okay, so here is another one. This one's most commonly missed on this activity. Most people miss this question. So here's what, because There's several ways to do it, but this particular activity is made for you to create this formula manually. So let's look in J6 and click the box there. And it says conditional formatting, so we go to conditional formatting. It's tempting to go here and go to the less than section. But because we have to set two different values, we need to go and create a new rule here. There isn't going to be one in the presets that will work for this. So we go down to new rule, and you have several different options. It says select a rule type. Come all the way down to use a formula to determine which cells to format. Once you click that, it asks you to format the values where this formula is true. So essentially we're making a logical statement, and the answer has to be true or false. So what is it telling us to do here? It says if J6 is less than the average of the range J6. So we click in here and we type J6. We want to know if J6 is less than, and then the average of the range. So how do we find the average of a range? Anyone remember from the previous chapter? Yeah, use the average function, AB, average. Average. You type that average function, and you have to open the parentheses and type in this range, J6 colon J10, and then close the parentheses. Okay, so this is going to take the average of this range, return a number, and then see if it's less than whatever value is in the cell J6. And the next step says, ensure that only the cells in the function are absolute references. What does it mean to be an absolute reference? Anyone remember? It means that if you were to move this formula somewhere else in the spreadsheet, this range will never change. We did that in the previous chapter. If you remember, adding the dollar signs to the columns and the dollar signs to the rows. In this case, it's easy just to highlight that range. And if you press F4 on the keyboard, then it automatically gives you those dollar signs. Let's see how hard this is.
Do you hide the parentheses too?
No, not the parentheses. Why do I have two parentheses there for some reason? So take a look at your formula now. It should say J6, the less than sign. It should say average, open the parentheses, then you have a dollar sign, a J, dollar sign and 6, meaning that cell will never change in your formula. And then the dollar sign J and a dollar sign and 10, and close your parentheses.
Does my average need to be capitalized?
It did that automatically when I pushed F4, but no, it doesn't have to. It'll take it either way.
That was my question.
Okay, great. Okay, good. So once we have that, that is our logic statement. So simply, it's either going to be less than the value in 7.6 or it's not. So true or false is only two answers. So then we go down here, it says format. So if they are less than, if it's true, then it's going to be formatted with a bold red font. So we go over here and it says format. So we've already given the formula there. Now it says how do you want it to format. So we're going to go here. Pay attention here, it says red font, and not fill, so don't get confused with font and fill. There's a font tab and a fill tab. So we're doing the font tab. You click bold here, and then it just says red, which means it's a standard color, right down there in the red. Okay, so bold red. Press OK there, and you get a preview of your text, what it's going to look like. Everybody have that one? Okay, good. All right, press OK there. Of course, nothing happens there because that must be greater than the average. So then it says, use the format painter to copy the formula in J6 to the range J6 through J10. So we don't have to click anything, it's already there. Just go over to the format painter here, and you're going to click in J7, drag down to J10. Let's double check and make sure it worked. If we go to the conditional formatting, go down here to manage rules. We see J6 less than the average. Then if we notice it's only on selections, it's only on the cell I selected. So if we press the down arrow, look at this worksheet. We can see here, didn't work. might have to modify this in a few minutes when we delete this row up here, so that way it'll grade correctly. Okay. So we'll move on from that one for a second, come back to that. Because the formula's in there correctly, but it's not changing. J6 isn't changing, it should go down to J7, J8, J9 in order to test the current value. It's not doing that. So we will fix that in a second. Okay, so in A16 we're going to insert a symbol. We haven't talked about symbols yet. So we click in A16, just to the left of weekday. If we go to the Insert tab, all the way over to the right, there's a symbols group, and there's a little ohm symbol there, and it says symbol. So if we click there, we get the symbols dialog box. The first thing it asks you is what type of font do you want to use, and this one says insert an asterisk star symbol from the Wingdings font, and change the font size to 16 and use the fill handle to fill it down. So we change the font size to, of course this alphabetical order is down. Notice there's more than one. It doesn't have a number after, so we just choose the Wingdings. And then it's if you go down to the bottom, it says character code. If we just erase that out of there, it just says code 175. So type 175 in there, and then there's the symbol. And you can just click insert. Notice once you click insert, if you look in your workbook, there it is, it's in there. But this dialog box doesn't close because it's set up for you to insert more than one symbol. In this case, we only want one, so we can just press close. Then it says to change the font to A16. Because, see the blinking cursor in there? Because the cursor is blinking there, notice everything's grayed out on the ribbon. So press the check mark here to accept the data in the cell and keep it active. Then go to the Home tab, and we can change the font size to 16. And it says align the text to the right. So look in the alignment group. There's the align to right, just click there. Then it says use the fill handle to fill A16 to A17. So take it, drag it down to fill it into that cell. It didn't say anything about adjusting the column width, so we just leave that for now. Okay, so we have two little stars, week in, week out. Alright, next thing we're going to do is create a new cell style. It's called zip, and change all the formatting about it. So change the new cell style. If we go to page layout, go over here to cell styles, in Home tab, cell styles. Press the down arrow, and all the way at the bottom it says create a new style. Up to this point we've been working with all of these different styles. Now we're going to create our own. So just click create new style, and then in the style name it says to use zip style. Make sure you use all lowercase. If you capitalize any one of those letters, it's going to mark it wrong. So do zip space style. Again, if it doesn't tell you to change anything, then don't mess with any of the boxes there. It says change the number format to text. So we just click the format button right here. And then our same window we're used to appears. But it's in borders because that's the last thing that we did. So we need to come over here to number. Or what do we do? Oh, text, font, right? Format it. Change the number format to text. No, I'm right. So number first, and then we go down here to text. It tells it that we want text in that box. And then change the horizontal alignment to center. So if we go into the alignment tab, there's one section here for a drop down that says horizontal. If we press down, it says center across section. Notice there's a center. If we keep looking down, there's center across section. So click there. Then change the vertical alignment to center, so the next drop down box is vertical. Change that to center. And then change the font to black. So this is the position that we want the text within the cell. We've told it to center it across the selection. So whatever we've selected is pretty much going to do a merge and center. That's what that is. So go to the font group. It wants us to use Arial Black. So if we scroll up, there's Arial Black right there. And it wants the font size of 16, so there's a font group, size group over here. Click on 16. And it wants the font color to be green. So we go down here and click on green. And then it says, change the fill color to white background 1, and it says top left. Again, there's font and there's fill. So we come over here to fill. Now on this fill palette, there isn't any, if you hold the mouse over, there isn't any tooltips. But if you notice, it's the same palette we work with in all of the different screens. So if you were to go back to font and hold down here and hold the mouse over the block, you can see which one it is, just don't click. And just remember the position of that color and go over to fill. In this case, it gives us white background 1. It tells us it's in the top left. But in case we didn't understand that, we can come down here. Top left, it says it's white background 1. Don't click there, but we go back over to the fill and click on the white one. That's how we can tell what color's in this palette. Okay? Questions on that? All right, press OK there, and then OK. And of course, nothing happens because we haven't applied the style anywhere. But if we press the down arrow in our styles, look in the custom section, you should see the zip style we just created. Yes. And it's possible from other users, so that's okay. You can just press OK there. If you want to check it, I'll show you. In case, because of the computers are in here, in case it already exists, go to Cell Styles here, and if you right-click on it, you can go to Modify. And then you have this screen once again. And if you click Format, you can check to make sure that the fill color is white. The font is Arial Black and font size 6 and the color's green. And then go over here and check the alignment, make sure it's center across selection and the vertical is center. And then check your number format and make sure it's text. And then you can just press OK and OK. And then you'll see your cell style and you'll know it's right because you went and modified the font. Okay. Good. So scroll down number 10. Let's apply the format. See, here's where it says delete the rows, so then we can check our conditional formatting. We'll do that last at the end. So it says delete row 3. Easily, if we click row 3 right there, and you can just hold the mouse over the number 3 and right click and click on the delete.
Did you do the last part of question 9?
Did I miss something? didn't. Oh, applying our style, I thought it was another question, it's not. Thank you. Apply the zip style to the range B1 through J2. So scroll up, we're gonna click B1 and go over to J2, go over to J and then down to 2. So we're gonna select that. And then we go into our sales styles and we should see our new style there and click. And notice that it automatically merged in centers. That's what our center across the selection was. I selected the area where I wanted that text to fill. Good. Okay, now we're on 10. Let's delete row 3. Just click on the row. If you hold the mouse over the 3, you can right click and then click on delete. And then row 3. Essentially, row 3 still exists because Excel's going to renumber the rows, but we watch our project slide up. So we've removed that row. So there's only one row between our heading and our chart. Go ahead and click Save there. So So now we're going to select the range A14 through D16. So A14 through D16, which is here. And it says insert the cells so the price tour is shifted to the right. So if we go into the cells, see where it says insert, we can just click insert cells. And it's going to ask us where we want the cells to be inserted. We just click cells shift right. So it's the very top radio button. You click OK, and it will shift all of that text over. This next part's tricky on the selection. You have to select E15. Question?
I did that last part.
Okay. Do you have the range highlighted?
Yeah.
Okay. Go into the insert in the cells group and click insert cells, and then choose the shift cells right button, and then click OK. Yep. Okay, now highlight F14 through D16. I'm sorry. F14 through G16. And then notice it says E15 and E16. So you have to hold the control key and select these two stars. So your selection should look like that. And it says apply the white background 1 fill color. So go into font group, press the little bucket and number 1. We're gonna create, next is creating a new theme for the workbook. So if we go to the page layout tab, notice there's fonts in the theme section. Press the down arrow there, go all the way down to create customized fonts. And in the name, we're gonna type zip font. And the body of it is just Arial, so we just changed the body to Arial. If you can't find it, you can start typing it and it'll show A-R-I-A-L. Okay, so then the body font's Arial. And just click Save there. We insert the logo into the center section of the header. If we remember, click page layout for the header and footer. We can click in the center here, and then our tools show for the header. We're going to add the picture that we downloaded, so click picture, and just find it from your flash drive. should say the logo. Then it says insert the file name element in the left section of the footer.
How did you get
Got it? Everybody got it? Hmm? Oh, you have to change the view down the bottom here, see? Click right there, change this view, and then scroll all the way up. Then you'll have to click in the center section. And if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see the footer. You have to hold the mouse over our picture, it's hard to see.
What do you put in that?
Insert that image, so you have to click picture in the center. Make sure you're in the center section. And you'll have to insert, in the left section of the footer, insert the file name. So just click the file name button there.
What if we have it saved as something else?
What's that?
I have it saved as like something else, I know it's mine.
The file name, that's fine, it's not gonna mess anything. Yep, we've got it. Do the header again, okay. Because we only got 2 more questions if you guys. Yep, if you, okay. Change to, are you in this view? So if we go, I'm gonna take this picture out. Alright, here's, we're back in normal. So we click in the page layout view, and then see where it says click to add header, click in the center. And then the tools will show up. If it doesn't automatically, there's header footer tools here. Click design, and then click where it says picture. And then click browse to find the picture on the folder. Then click somewhere in the document and change to normal view.
How did you get the picture to here?
One more step. The last step is to go to the View tab. It says to hide the sheet options, hide the worksheet, grid lines, and row columns. Go to View, and then uncheck grid lines and headings. Make sure you're in normal view and save that, and you can submit that to sync, to my to the Dropbox.
Did we never do the red thing now?